guys, so welcome to my second video diary of my Wife Law Practicum video series. And so my experiment for this week, and I kind of did it a week and a half a bit because just of kind of the way that breaks of school and everything worked out, I didn't really have a great week to kind of start this. But so my kind of focus or topic for the week was kind of noticing derogatory or rude things that people said around me. And I don't feel like rude is exactly the right word for it because there's so much more to it than just being rude. It's people saying things that are totally ridiculous, or I mean, I don't want to say just like un-feminist, because people say un-feminist things all the time. I'm sure that I have said one or two un-feminist things in my lifetime. You know, people just, it happens. We live in a culture that is kind of not conducive to feminism, and thus we all just say it. Even if you believe in feminism super strongly, I'm sure you've at least said one unfeminist thing. So the point is, people just say things maybe without thinking, but when I really listen for it and think about it, there's so much. So the first one that I wanted to kind of start with is something that someone said that I just kind of was like laughing to myself about, you know? And kind of, I guess, the category that this falls into would just be people saying things that they have no right to say, or don't really have any like basis for saying it, or just kind of like they say it and it's like, why would you even say something like that? So anyway, this boy, keep in mind that it's a boy. This is kind of extremely important to have for context. He said, he was talking, I wasn't even really in the conversation, but I heard him talking to a teacher, a male teacher, and he was saying, it's so gross when girls don't wear bras. Like, I don't want to see all that. Like, you wouldn't want to see my boobs. And like, ugh, it kind of made me like startled because, okay, guys don't have boobs. They don't really get to have an opinion about this. Second of all, I mean, I'm not taking a side either way. You should do what feels comfortable for you. But just the idea that someone who has absolutely no like kind of basis for having an opinion could have such a strong opinion about something that really he has no right to, and like, I don't know, I mean, the topic of kind of bra versus no bra is so debated, and it's kind of like shaving your legs. I mean, just, you have whatever opinion you want, it's fine either way, just do what you like. But the fact that anyone would judge someone else for their like personal choices, especially when like you don't even have kind of the experience to make the choice on your own, like, why would you say something like that? And I just feel like that's kind of like just one example. Another thing was, in my English class, we were reading this essay by Lucy Stone, who was kind of a feminist before it really kind of got going. I mean, I don't know if that's exactly right. I'm pretty bad about the whole feminist timeline, but kind of in the early stages of women's rights. And I was like pretty invested in it, and I thought it was interesting, and we were talking about it at lunch, and I sit at a table with a lot of guys and then some of my female friends, and we were talking about it, and I was like, oh, actually I think it's pretty interesting, and this other boy was like, ugh, it's just so boring and like stupid and dumb. And I mean, he was kind of joking, but also it was kind of getting to me. And then, long story short, I was branded as the feminist, which should have made me proud, and in a certain way I do feel proud, but it's like the way that it was said to me that I just felt kind of like, okay, like I felt like it was a diss, and I feel like he meant it that way. And that's totally a topic for another day, but anyway, from now on it's kind of become this like joke of his. So he was like asking me for something and I said no, and he was like, oh, it's just because I'm a man and you hate men. And like, it's those kinds of things, like just little like casual comments or like a joke, like however it's said or however it's meant, it's like, think about what you're saying. And both of those examples were boys, which kind of a coincidence, kind of not. I feel like I notice it more when boys say something derogatory about women or about feminism or whatever. And it's a whole other thing when a girl says it, but I don't know, it's just, it kind of, when I've been thinking about it and listening for it, I just hear it everywhere. And I mean, I don't know what to make of it, because when you get on someone for saying something like that, they'll be like, oh, I was just joking, like, no one was hurt by it, blah, blah, blah. But, like, it's just kind of endorsing this culture that we've created, which is not healthy and which is not productive, and it's just kind of dumb to be continuing this. So that's kind of the first thing. And then I kind of want to do a whole separate week on this and make a whole other video about it. But one other really big thing is girls saying derogatory things about themselves and about other girls. And that's kind of the whole like girl hate culture, and that's all of these topics, just we could go on for hours. But I noticed a lot of that too. Just as a few like small examples, every day at lunch we usually make a trip to the bathroom. And there's obviously full-length mirrors in our bathrooms at school, and it's just kind of this like breeding ground for girls to kind of go and like, I mean, it's one thing to just kind of like look at yourself and be like, okay, good to go, like, don't have any food in my teeth, let's go back. But like, it's kind of this little area where girls kind of stand, and it's like that scene right out of Mean Girls where she's like, oh, my hairline is weird, my pores are huge, blah blah blah. They just kind of stand there and like look at themselves and they're like, ugh, what happened to me, or something like that. And I have caught myself doing it, like everybody does it, and it's, I mean, I'm not gonna say it's not bad, because it is, but like I'm sure you don't like, I'm sure you don't think about it when you say it, because I don't even think about it when I say it. Like sometimes I look at myself and I'm like, not looking too great, looking a little rough, but it really just makes all of it okay. And just really what I want to emphasize is the casualty of everything that is said. When people say these derogatory things, they're not even thinking about it, which you could, on one hand, you could be like, well, they're not even thinking about it, they don't really mean it, whatever. But on the one hand, saying these awful things has become so casual and so okay and so appropriate, and it's just not. When is it ever for you to say something derogatory about yourself, about someone else who is the same gender, someone who is a different gender, someone just, I mean, I don't mean to sound preachy at all, because I totally take part in it, and I'm really trying to kind of pull myself back from it, because I have heard myself saying these things and I'm like, wait a second, like, but just in general, why have we made this okay? And I think it's just, I think it would be interesting, because first of all, I mean, high school in general, everybody's high school is gonna have these people that say these things and think it's okay, and it's not. But my high school is a lot more diverse than a lot of high schools, and is a lot more accepting. I mean, it's not an accepting place by any means, it's high school, but it's more conducive to kind of being different and being yourself. And I was still shocked at the amount of this stuff that I heard. And so if I'm hearing this amount of stuff at my school, imagine what it's like in another school where it's just not okay to be anything except mainstream. This is kind of turning into a tangent, but my point is, I'm not even sure if I know what my point is, but why is it okay for these things to be said, and why do we hear it so much, I guess, is my point. So I think everybody should just do it for even a day. Just like go into your school and just really listen for it. And I made notes on my phone, or I like wrote them down, and anytime I just heard something, I was very discreet about it. Like I didn't want to like be like, hey, just so you know, I'm writing that down for my project and you said something really bad. Just like mentally like think about it, or like take it in and just think, like, how much of that stuff do you hear, and how much of it do you condone, how much of it do you say, hey, really you shouldn't say that, how much of it are you like, whatever, they didn't mean it. Like, just kind of think about how you react to it, think about how other people around you react, and really that's where you're gonna see all of it. So I think this is a massive topic and it should really be broken down. So I do want to do additional weeks kind of focusing on girl on themselves, girl on girl, boy on girl, girl on boy, whatever. So possibly additional videos will follow this one, but I guess this was just kind of my introduction into it. I'm just getting started kind of looking at all this stuff, and honestly I'm shocked. But I think it could potentially get a lot more shocking. I mean, I only wrote them down when I like really paid attention to it, but I'm sure there's other things that I tuned out or just missed or whatever. So I'm kind of curious to see what more I can dig up. So hopefully an additional video will follow. And again, thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video diary.